This episode is brought to you by Chase for Business.
This episode contains mentions of sensitive topics. They're pretty brief, but you might want to check out our show notes first, particularly if younger children are listening.
I'm Inc. Executive Editor Diana Ransom.
And I'm Editor-at-Large Christine Lagorio-Chafkin.
You're listening to Inc.'s From the Ground Up. Today's episode, Founding a Company While Grieving. It's not easy founding a company. It helps to have a great bond with your co-founder.
Kind of like you and me, right, Diana? I mean, in all reality, we've been working together at Inc. for 10 years, right?
Yes, 10 years and 5 children between us. It's been a lot, of course. But that's not quite what I mean, Christine. Imagine starting a business from scratch after living through a deep trauma or a period of grieving like losing a loved one.
Right. You definitely need a great foundation with your co-founder to start a company, but that is not the easiest thing to focus on while you're going through the grieving process. You might need, let's say, a real spark to start a business while you're going through something.
How about slime?
Yeah, slime.
It sounds wild, but that's exactly what the two co-founders of the Sloomoo Institute, Karen Robinovitz and Sara Schiller, used to get through some of their darkest periods of their lives.
We started by asking them specifically about this, and it got emotional pretty quickly.
So slime actually came to me from a really personal place, and I'm about to get heavy.
Okay.
About 7 years ago, everything in my life blew up. I had been married for 14 years. We were going through a really tumultuous time, and we separated. And during that time, he passed away. And I had an enormous nervous breakdown. And it's the kind of thing where, you regret everything and that you've ever said that was wrong. And you really look at yourself and take a hard kind of moment to say, where am I happy in my life? And I realized how unhappy I was in a lot of areas. I fell into a very deep and dark depression. 9 months later, I lost my cousin in the Parkland school shooting. And you are then struck with how you never know what's going to happen. And I was carrying so much pain and grief. I was not really leaving my house. I stopped working. I left my company. One day, my friend of about 25 or so years came by with her then 10-year-old daughter. Her daughter had slime with her. And I grew up with slime in the 70s, when it was the Mattel in a garbage can. It was my favorite thing as a child. There were many fights in my house about slime. There were probably many bad bangs haircuts because of the slime in my hair. And I said, oh, Maddie, I want to see your slime. I knew there was a zeitgeist. I knew there was a cultural movement around DIY. And I was curious about it. And I sat on the floor with her. And then all of a sudden, Melissa said, oh, well, we have to go. And I said, you just got here. She's like, you've been sitting on the floor with my daughter for 4 hours. I had no idea 4 hours passed. When they were leaving, I said, I was just so happy. I felt like me as a 7-year-old again. And I didn't know I would ever feel any ounce of joy ever again. Where do I get more? She gave me a list of all of these kids and what kind of slime they're known for. And, I'd already learned all the 15 textures and the nuances. By the way, at one point during our play date, I was outside on the street, and she was on the roof of my building drizzling slime down for me to catch it. Like, I became 7 again. And so I became what is known as a #adult slimer. And I said, Sarah, we've been friends for 16 years. And Sarah really showed up for me as a friend. In those moments, you see who your friends are. And Sarah had gone through really equally difficult times. So I said, I'm going to give it over to Sarah now, but I was like, I have to bring you slime.
Yeah, so my journey is similar but different. I have 2 daughters. My older daughter, Samantha, was born with a rare genetic syndrome called Angelman syndrome. And a symptom is happiness. So she's really lovely and happy, and I think every parent wants that for their child. But she can't speak, and she can't really do any activities of daily living. So she can't feed herself, get dressed, anything. And when you're an entrepreneur and you're a business person and a mover and shaker, when you have a child who needs full support, it changes everything, your whole view of the world. Fast forward 9 years ago, my husband, true love and partner, woke up at the age of 50 and had massive bilateral strokes. He ended up with brain damage. He can't speak. He needs full-time care to eat, to get dressed, and all those activities of daily living. And, Karen held Samantha when she was born and has been on this journey with me. When she came over, I also have a younger daughter who's 5 years younger. The four of us started playing, and we really realized that my severely disabled kid could play with slime just as well as the rest of us. And in particular with my little one, that you could really have good conversations with her because you were playing, but as a parent, you're kind of sneaking in, really talking about feelings and the situation, which for her was obviously really, really rough.
Wow. I mean, it is fascinating that we're sitting here using our hands and having a conversation right now, but I feel like there's been this rise in awareness of ASMR and how that stimulates people's brains and the tactile feelings that certain kids, certain adults really gravitate to as sort of a therapy. Let's talk a little bit about that. And is there a benefit to this neon gooey stuff?
I mean, the benefits, I think, first and foremost, boil down to the act of playing. There's a lot of scientific research around playing and what that does for the brain and how it can connect you to other people and to yourself and how it impacts feelings of loneliness. And we are living in an epidemic of mental health crisis and of loneliness and screen addiction. So that's one piece. I think the other is when you are really in your senses, and this is touch, sound, sight, because of how beautiful it looks, and smell, it's really hard for your brain to start going into all the story and all the anxiety. That keeps you present and in the moment and provides this amazing escape. And I feel connected to both of you because we've been walking around touching slime, and I feel like I've been getting to know you based on what you've been experiencing and what smells you like and what colors you gravitate towards. And there's also a lot to be said for color therapy.
Interesting.
So how did the slime actually help you? Obviously you felt it was to some degree cathartic, right, to play with the slime. But I mean, you had also sought out therapy over the years.
Oh, I was in therapy. I went on antidepressants. I mean, I spent 6 months crying myself to sleep and waking up in the middle of the night, literally harrowing pain. And I don't say that with any levity. I very openly share it because there's so many stigmas around this. And it helped me to meet other people who've been through trauma and came out another side. And I feel like the more we talk about these things, the more we normalize them for everybody. But I think what it did for me on one level is it brought my excitement back because it sounds really ridiculous. And you have to realize at this time I'm in my late 40s. I couldn't wait for my packages to arrive. And I would run downstairs to see all my new slimes. And I was FaceTiming Sarah and her daughter. And then her daughter would be like, but you're getting to break it in. I want to break it in. So then I'd have to start buying 2 or 3 of every slime so they could have what we would start to call freshies. You start to develop a new language, and my creativity came back. I truly, kind of before this, I was negotiating how I was going to get through the next 45 years of my life.
Yeah.
I think importantly, too, the fact that we could then start a company around something so joyous.
Yeah, I want to hear how did the slime become a business?
Yeah, that's what I was going to ask. Which was it, the slime or the company building? Because you two are both entrepreneurs already. That was in you, and it's fun to kind of create
It's the combination of building a company around something so playful, and it is, at the end of the day, everything here is more than just slime. You talk about the company part.
Yeah, well, I think the really amazing thing, and especially the fact that Karen and I had been friends for so long, we have a level of trust as co-founders that I think is really, truly remarkable. And part of that is the fact that we built this around slime because we're building something full of joy and happiness. And so every morning when we wake up, we know we're doing something really fun and incredible, like walking in here at 8 this morning to do an interview. We're happy about it because we're playing with slime. So And I think the fact that we had such a great friendship that then was centered on slime allowed us to build the company very, very quickly.
Okay, but let's walk us back to that first day where you were like, okay,
Let's
love
bring
slime.
this to people.
What is this?
Start a business around it. Like, how did that go?
I mean, we were playing so much about and talking about slime, and then we started to get fantastical, and we would be, imagine Cause doing a slime, an artist, or imagine a fashion designer, or imagine, we're making this up, Taylor Swift is coming out with a new fragrance and we launch a slime that smells like it because every tween in the universe will want it. And then we were like, this is so much magic. We have to bring this to people. Literally without even thinking, Sarah called her broker that she's been working with for a decade plus. I called the guy that I do all of my branding work with over the years. We went and found a lawyer. We were like, we'll draw up legal papers. She's looking at real estate. I'm working on what do we want a brand to physically look like so we could start to go over logos together. We share such a strong aesthetic that if you put us in two different rooms and gave us all the same paint chips, we would pick the same colors.
Yeah, you also both have the same sidekick, apparently.
We do have the same sidekick.
And what's the name?
Frou.
Frou. Okay.
So, but the thing is that we knew we wanted to do an experience, and at this time, Museum of Ice Cream had launched. And so we were like, we'll do a 6-month pop-up and then float it around. But the first idea was really, let's do something for 6 months. We raised money, small amount of money, and opened our doors very, very quickly. So it was a year from us sitting around the kitchen table dreaming this to opening the doors with full-on branding, staffing, building all of this world. The first day, we had 3,000 people. And we looked at each other and we just knew.
We were like, we're going to need a bigger boat.
Yeah, that we were onto something, right? We knew slime was unbelievable. We knew people would love it. We had no idea how impactful it was going to be and how people were going to gravitate towards it.
Mm-hmm. Did you start in this space? I mean, we are in SoHo in New York City. This is a big space. The real estate must have been very expensive, must be very expensive. How many people do you get in here a day these days? And it's an experience that's a little more than just touching the slime, right?
There's a whole scentscape. There's an entire room of really beautiful, immersive, soothing videos. There's a room where it's day glow and you're dancing and you're turning into a slimy avatar by an interactive video, and then you can throw virtual slime. There's kinetic sand.
You can walk on a lake of slime, take your shoes off and dance and walk on slime.
Amazing.
There's alcohol wipes.
Yeah. But most importantly for us is every person who comes can make their own slime and they leave with it. And there's 4 million different combinations. So every child, every parent, we have amazing scents. We have everything from, bubble gum and chocolate chip cookies, but we also have dirt and new baby and lavender. So everyone can choose their own scent, choose from 8 different bases. So you're really customizing something and connecting with your experience here and leaving with it.
Mm-hmm. And the branding too is immersive and sort of deeper than I would expect. Like you have a sort of avatar mascot. You have multiple versions of him, her, it, and you have a theme song. I mean, like it's intense.
It's a world.
It's a world. Mm-hmm. Yeah. How much of that came from the beginning?
Yeah. Did you think it would be a world in the outset?
Yes.
100%.
The minute. So, do you know how we came up with the name Sloomoo?
No, tell us. I mean, I do, but
but no.
There was a really funny trend in 2017 in the slime community, which is rampant, and people were saying replace the vowels of your name with OO. That's your slime name.
Okay, so I have a question for you. My name is Diana, so I have 2 vowels right next to each other.
Duunu.
So
Duunu.
So it's like, oh, what are you doing this weekend? We're going to Duunu. Sounds like an island.
Yeah.
And the minute we said slime is Sloomoo,
That was the name
we
of
were
the
like,
company.
that is so. It's also trademarkable. That's not a real word,
Right.
So we were like, we could get the trademark. We were like, it's an institute because this is all science. This is a science lesson. Like it was just Black History Month, and throughout the whole space, we had really amazing, what we're calling Sloomoo science facts. And it was all facts around incredible Black innovators, scientists throughout time. We'll do it for Women's History Month. Like, we're weaving in a way to learn while you're playing.
Secret STEM experiments, right? This is a non-Newtonian particle, which we were talking about before, and it has a lot of special traits. And I think slime also really attracts girls for some reason. And I love the fact, as a mom of 2 girls, that it can be cool to be into science. And the art and science of making slime is something that kids can learn science through.
Absolutely. And just for the record, my son loves slime too. So
yes.
And I also feel like I personally blame you for all the slime that's in my carpet right now.
I know. We're okay. So
we
have
have
a major PSA moment. Slime comes out with white vinegar and water. It's magic eraser.
It would have saved me a ton of time to know that.
It can still come out of your carpet, by the way, even years later.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
And we look at this as an incredible way to teach your kids the art of responsibility as if they're taking care of a pet. You can't not feed your pet. You can't not feed your slime. So every day you walk over to your slime and you open it and you're like, is it sticky? If it's sticky, you get activator, which I lovingly call anti-aging serum, and you give it to your slime and then it won't be sticky. If you haven't touched it in 3 weeks, certain slimes will melt. And actually, you can teach them the clear slime or the thick and glossy slime melts faster than a butter slime. Why is that? Well, there's a different ingredient in butter slime that makes it adhere to itself more. So there's a lot of lessons in science and responsibility. It's almost like a Tamagotchi. Like, you have to take care of it.
You obviously feel passionate about slime.
Can you tell?
A little bit. As you grow the Institute, I mean, you've opened 4 locations and you're on to your 5th right now, right? Mm-hmm. How do you, I guess, translate your passion as, the company grows?
We are constantly innovating. I mean, that's the one thing. We have more ideas than we have money or spaces to launch. And the idea is to really keep coming up with different ways for people to connect to all of their senses, as we talked about earlier. And our other passion is working with artists. So anyway, any chance we can get to bring in an artist to help create fun, we're doing that. And that's one of the parts of LA is we're bringing in Randy Palumbo, and he's creating this amazing soundscape for us, where you're going into a room covered with sound bells and interacting and playing. So we're not just focused on slime. We're looking to create any sort of magical moment we can.
I also think, the way that we think about our mission is really delivering joy. And that comes in a lot of forms. And another element that we really believe in is the power of movement and dance. And you don't have to be a good dancer. I'm a horrible dancer. I can't follow choreography. And at the same time, when I dance, I feel incredible freedom. And I remember the period of depression I was in, and I literally had this moment. I said to myself, I'm never going to dance again. And that feeling for me is like I said, it's freedom. I remember one day it was like our year anniversary, and Sarah and I were standing over there in our space, and we were dancing. Just silly, big fools. We're doing the Running Man. We're doing the robot. We're like that bad moment on Friends of like the Ross and Rachel routine. Like, that's what we were like. And it doesn't matter because you're feeling joyful. So we have a theme song. One of my dreams is every hour on the hour you play that theme song and we have a Sloomoo dance, it becomes something that everybody learns, and you don't have to be good at it. And
we have videos of dads doing it.
Yeah, we have videos of dads doing it and it is like, it doesn't matter if you're not good. This is about freedom and movement. So we imagine one day that we have live performances with our characters and we're getting families to come out together and dance.
So, I mean, you were saying earlier that the slime is sort of, you need to be not in work, right? Or in like your head doing anything else while you're playing with slime. It gets you into a meditative place. But building a business is hard. What's been the biggest challenge in the last 5 years for you two in expanding?
The list is long. I mean, I was practically in tears this morning.
I think, so
what happened?
I think
The challenge is as you grow,
I'll tell you.
As for any entrepreneur, we're building a brand that has an emotional connection. But as you grow, you need systems and processes that make it function profitably and efficiently. And it's that clash that every company in the world has that we're in the middle of that growing pain to create.
And sometimes you want to do something and you see it so clearly because you know how beautiful it will be, and you don't always get everybody else to understand, and you have to kind of fight for your vision, even at the company you co-founded, where you're like, I want to convince you that this will be incredible for us. And everybody has to step a little bit outside their comfort zone to do it.
And have your employees ever convinced you, no, like that idea is not right or not going to work?
Yeah.
Have you? Yeah.
I was also wondering to what degree customers kind of influence your decisions.
All the time.
Fuzzy is an identity verification app that is affordable, user-friendly, and delivers results in seconds. By analyzing publicly available data through ADD, its patent-pending AI-powered technology, Fuzzy provides users with a digital gut check for safer, real-life connection. Find us in the App Store or at fuzzyverify.com. Fuzzy is powered by Qualified Digital, the Big 5 agency disruptor that seamlessly engages Fortune 100 clients with the focus, innovation, and creativity of a small shop. Want to work with us? Go to qualifieddigital.com to find out more.
Yeah.
I mean,
And how do you get that feedback?
if somebody came in and said, I don't like cloud slime, we're not going to not have cloud slime. But we ask them all the time, like, what do you like? What do you wish we had? What do you want to do here? And that informs how we think about things.
And I think especially children have a really poignant way of telling you what's good and what's not.
You mean they just tell you to your face? They just tell you.
They're like little drunk people. This is bad.
I want to step back for 1 second because Karen and I often lately look at each other and say, why did we start a slime factory? Because we could have nailed it doing so many other things
That are easier.
And this is the beauty of being an entrepreneur, because you have this passion and fearlessness that you can't stop. But we did something that's never been done before. And that's crazy and hard. Like, you saw our slime kitchen. Making 600 gallons of slime a day on a commercial level is really, really hard. No one did it like this before.
Customer service is hard.
Customer
Having
service.
an open door.
We opened without customer service.
Oh my gosh.
We were like, we didn't think about that.
We had a young woman in our coat closet on a computer trying to handle the onslaught of requests. But once I think you get to the point where we are now, where we have 4 locations and a lot of momentum and 500,000 guests last year, I think it does help us continue to innovate, because what we've done has been successful. So let's go, team. Like, Karen and I are on to something. Stay on the train. We know where it's going. Trust us.
And let it evolve and turn into a lot of other things. I think another amazing part of this that we are working on bringing to the world is literally the world, but through media, through what would an animated series be? What would a graphic novel of the character's origin story be in a fantasy way? What would a future live performance, music catalog, etc., so that this can fill out a 360-degree universe a la, Pokemon.
So that was, the Sloomoo-verse was part of the business plan.
From
and
the
so
first day.
that includes animated series, music.
Yeah. I mean, we didn't model it.
Yeah.
Because it's this in that way. It's a lot of risk. And 1 in a billion make it. But we were like, why can't we be one?
Right. I mean, and you both come from the media industry, and it must be tempting to get back into that. I mean, obviously you have such a robust social media presence right now, but is it something you think about every day?
Every day.
Every day we're building it.
We're building it. I mean, we are in the process of actually making that universe happen.
So I want to ask you about Toni Ko. She's an investor, right? Or sort of founding partner. Can you talk about how that conversation got going and what appealed to what appealed to her about slime?
How amazing she is as a human.
I mean, that's first and foremost. I think it was really kind of wild when we were sitting down saying, we're going to kind of scrounge together whatever we can to put towards this, but we're still going to need another $500,000. Our vision was, we don't want to go to angel round and go to 10 people for $50,000 and manage that. We want one investor. And a lot of people were saying, oh, that's just so hard. You can't do it. What's your valuation? There's nothing there yet. And when somebody says to me, you can't do it, I'm like, watch. Because
everyone said you can't do it.
Everyone said you can't do it. Everyone. Family, like friends, other entrepreneurs, other people that I've gone to for sage advice over the years. And we got to Tony. For some reason in my head, I knew her from her previous life tangentially. And I looked at her at the time when I was creating my influencer agency and managing talent. And we were the first agency to manage social media influencers the way that Brillstein would manage Brad Pitt. I saw her as going to a community that in the makeup world that a lot of the traditional brands weren't looking at. And I was saying to the traditional makeup brands, you have to look at these people because this person is literally using 20 products for one look, and who the person in your ads doesn't even really wear makeup.
This is the drag queen community.
Yeah, the drag queen community.
Yeah. Tony tapped into.
And Tony saw it.
Absolutely.
And I just said, I know she's just going to understand this. And she's a woman and she's self-made. And we got to her and we met her and it was like a friendship actually happened. And she's like,
I don't want you as entrepreneurs to spend time running around raising money. I'm going to write the whole check. And she did it within, I think, 2 or 3 weeks.
Yeah.
So we had the money, we pressed go, and that was it. But it gets even more incredible because we're
amazing.
very, very scrappy to open this on the budget that we had. She called us up. She's like, I'm coming to New York for the opening. Are you guys having an opening party? We're definitely not having an opening party because we don't have any money. And she said, I'm wiring you a check right now for an opening party. And Karen and I believe, because we've been to a lot of parties in this city over the last 25 years, we threw the best party this city has ever seen. And it was just such an incredible gift that she wanted to give us.
No investor would do that. She literally said, here's $25,000, have a party. And Sarah and I were able to then finagle 25 into making it a $100,000 party by getting a lot of things sponsored. And it gave us that mojo. And we were like, we're not letting Tony down. But that's the kind of human she is. And when she said, I'm giving you a larger check than I've actually ever written for any investment, she wanted a larger percent than we imagined giving. And we had a conversation with ourselves and said, it's actually worth giving up more for the right person and having a really great partner and no longer hitting the streets than it is to just be greedy. We don't have anything right now. So let's just give a little more and build.
Amazing. And so obviously she showed up at the party. And did you have like fountains of slime?
Well, we have we have 35 vats that each hold 5 gallons. So these are pretty magical when you have hundreds of people.
Let's just say there was an odd shaving cream performance by an artist. An odd shaving cream performance. We had, Sky Katz, at the time she was 16. She's a Disney star. She's a rapper. She had just done a commercial with Nike with LeBron. She performed with a troupe of dancers. We had Rihanna's DJ. I mean, it was awesome.
Had people on stilts walking around, drizzling slime.
Acrobats.
We had acrobats in our lake.
Oh my goodness.
It was a festival.
That is amazing.
Wow.
Let's talk about your marketing for a second. Obviously, you appeal to children. But increasingly, moms and dads are sort of joining the fun, and your marketing, just generally speaking, kind of appeals to adults too. And I wonder, is that seems deliberate? And what do you think adults would get out of playing with slime?
Well, adults have the money.
Right, that's true.
They're buying
but I mean, but the idea is like you can also play. And to your point earlier, it's like you kind of want something meditative. You want something that takes you away from the screens, that takes you away from work and your overworked life, and just
I don't think adults know they want that until they come and experience it. I actually think we are undercover getting them to connect to that after they get here. I'll let Karen talk about the marketing in a second because she's really the guru, but I want to just tell you this, what we see happening, which is to me one of the most amazing things, which is fathers coming with their daughters. And we see manly men coming in who are like, I'm not going to touch this slime. I'm just here because I have this sweet 9-year-old who's dying to come to Sloomoo Institute. 2 Vats in, their sleeves are rolled up, they're grinning, they're smiling. And
you're lifting the whole 5-gallon of slime in the air
over their heads. And we know, that these young girls are going to have this memory for the rest of their life, the day that they spent with their dads, like really connecting in a meaningful way. And whenever we are feeling down, sometimes we come and just watch people play. And Karen and I just hold hands and see the joyousness of families connecting. It's really incredible. And I think the guys especially have no idea what they're getting into.
Well, they learn quickly. So you have 4 locations. You're opening a 5th in LA. What's the expansion strategy?
It's really looking at the key large cities where we can put flagship spaces and invent something new and innovate as we go along.
Is it also helpful for like delivering slime to have these like hub and spokes in different places?
That's something that we're working on next, which is...
Believe me, I charge by the hour.
Is having a location in a smaller but still just as amazing city where the slime might be made in a bigger city and you're trucking it. And when we prove that works, then you can start to say, okay, what's the 4 to 6 hour drive from New York, from Los Angeles, from Chicago, from et cetera, so that you can start building larger. And then we're looking to license internationally. So we have a global footprint and build out the media side.
Okay. And how soon does all this happen? Like the media
in
side?
Our eyes, when we want it to happen or the reality.
What's your next 2-year plan for expansion?
So we have multiple tracks, and we're also we're out raising money. So as entrepreneurs, I feel like sometimes it feels like we're never not raising money.
Yeah.
We're so lucky because we're profitable and so many startups aren't. So we have that in our back pocket, besides the fact that we have really just a beautiful, sustainable business model. But we're looking to do both prongs. So continue on the physical experiences while we start to build out this animated musical world of Sloomoo online. So we're going to do both. And I guarantee at the end of 2 years, we're going to have some pretty exciting content out there that will go hand in hand with the spaces expanding.
How many spaces are you imagining? Just give me a hopeful number.
From a large space at least 10.
10. Mm-hmm.
And then you recently embarked on a, sunshine tour?
Sunshine tour.
Yeah.
It's dark out there. We want to bring sun. This is sunshine.
What happened? What'd you do during the tour?
We landed in Detroit, which is an amazing city.
We need sunshine in Detroit.
Yes.
Yes. And we had a whole team with us. We had a big yellow truck, and they were driving around the city handing out slime. We were running into different TV studios and radio studios saying, like, get slime, come and play. We have a space in Chicago that's absolutely gorgeous, and it's really, people can drive there. And we're saying, like, take your family, go on a trip, get out of your house for the weekend and make Sloomoo part of that. So one of the things that we like to tell other entrepreneurs is that you can, from day one, wrap into your business things that are important to you and things that are meaningful. And I think because we started Sloomoo in our late 40s, we didn't think twice about including our passion projects into the fabric of the company. So we give back to mental wellness through Goldie Hawn's Mind Up Foundation, and they're an integral part of our philanthropy. But we also have an amazing initiative around hiring neurodiverse adults. And this started with just one guy and has grown to be up to 5 or 6 people in every location. We're actually working to partner more closely with the organizations that support adults with different special needs to help us find the right people and find the right jobs. We call this our secret weapon, which now it's out there, so it's probably not so secret, because we have such a loyal workforce in a time when there is a fight for labor.
Yeah.
And the people working for us feel like they have a career here, and that since 85% of adults with autism don't have jobs, we're providing opportunities for them that they can't get anywhere else. More importantly, and an interesting couple layers, is that having a really diverse workforce makes everyone better. You treat people with more respect, with more dignity.
Patience.
More patience. You're more apt to describe things or help people in different ways. And then when we have visitors and guests coming in, we're tapping into the entire population. So we have families that are coming in with special needs, and they're seeing people who look like their own kids, or kids are seeing themselves working, and it's providing hope. And it's subconscious. We never intended that. We didn't even know that was going to happen. It just happened, and it's been remarkable. And now we're really proponents of, like, any company can start, anyone can start with just one person, and you don't know where it's going to take you, but it can change people's lives.
And you can start by having a charity partner. It doesn't mean you have to give away so much, but if those causes are important to you, I think. And you can weave them into your world in a really authentic way, because this speaks to our personal lives and it makes us feel much more purposeful, and we support each other's causes and visions. I think one of the most beautiful stories was the day we opened Houston. The first girl who walked in the door is somebody who has Down syndrome. And she was talking to somebody who works with us and heard about this part of our business, and then looked around and said to her Mom, this means I could get a job.
Oh my God.
Like, chills.
Really?
Like that is drop the mic. Like, that is what we do this for. And so what Sarah said earlier is, if we're ever having a frustrating day or we're in a bad mood and we come here, we can feel that again.
I was also noticing on your website, obviously, you put it out there about your own traumatic experiences before you started Sloomoo. Do you feel like telling your story has resonated with your customers? Have they told you that?
Yes.
And is that part of the reason why you tell people?
Well, they tell us this, and then they share their own stories. For me, I do it because I had a lot of support from women who lost their husbands to mental health. And that is a different kind of grief. And I don't really, in the media, talk about that so blatantly, but I talk about it to guests, to people, because it is a real problem and it is a real issue. And I lost my will to live when I went through that. And I believe that in sharing that, it can help one person.
And then makes it worth it. Yeah. What do you hope other entrepreneurs kind of learn from your experience of turning, tragedy into a playful business?
I think that you can come back from anything. You really can. I think that it's really easy to say, I said it. I literally said to Sarah, I have no life again. What am I going to do? And she was like, you'll build again. Yeah,
it's this idea that don't give up hope. And for me in particular, with two girls, I want them to see that, you're going to come, every one of us comes across really hard obstacles, but you can get up, shake it off, and just keep moving forward, because you don't know where you're going to end up. And look where we've ended up. It's really incredible. It's a remarkable journey. And the fact that we're on this together is so heartwarming, because it's only furthered our friendship. I always say that when this company is off on its own, Karen and I are going to start another company, because it's really fun. And there's that, when you really trust someone, you can make decisions so nicely, and you can take on really hard things in a fearless way. And the reward that you get from that is tenfold.
And you can have the hard conversations. You can disagree and then come and find solutions and actually learn from each other.
I love that you say you'd start a company again together. So many founders say don't start a business with your friends, What's a lesson that you've learned about working together, and how to get through those hard conversations when it's someone you're personally and financially invested in and with?
I think it helps that we started it in our late 40s. And we're both, I say, like realized beings, right? Like
You're actualized.
We've done the work.
Put it out there. Like don't go to bed angry.
Yeah.
We're at that level. So we have disagreements but we just work through them like anyone would. So it can be done, but you have to really make sure the communication is as high as possible.
It's a marriage. Mm-hmm. So you have to know I'm going to go on a journey and it's going to be hard at times. And one of us is going to break at times and the other one's going to break at another time. And you're just going to be there through the journey. And I definitely know no matter what, Sarah's on the journey. Whatever happens, we're still on the journey together.
Well, on that note, thank you so much for your time today.
Thank you.
It was tremendous talking to you and getting to learn more about the Sloomoo-verse.
It was so fun to talk to you
Thank you for taking us on the journey.
You're welcome. Thank you for being here. Yes.
Oh, wow.
That's all for today's episode of From the Ground Up.
Be sure to subscribe on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or your podcast platform of choice. Also, if you like this episode or have suggestions of what topics you'd like to hear about, leave us a review on Apple Podcasts or reach out to us on Inc.'s social channels on LinkedIn, Instagram, and the app formerly known as Twitter.
From the Ground Up is produced by Julia Hsu, Blake Odom, and Avery Miles. Mix and sound design by Nicholas Torres. Our executive producer is Josh Christensen. Thank you for listening, and we will see you next week.